I don't remember this level of condemnation when it came to people with actual power saying, hey, we should, Josh Hawley, let's bounce the rubble in Gaza. Lindsey Graham, let's level the place. Max Miller, we're going to turn that into a parking lot, and on and on and on. So this is, listen, I condemn anti-Semitism. I certainly condemn violence. But let's be serious about who the villains are right now.
Would you agree that Hamas are villains?
The villains are the terrorist organization Hamas,
Hang on, I'm asking a question. Would you agree
Yes, of course.
that Hamas are villains?
Terrorists. And so is the Israeli government, given the number of civilians that they have intentionally targeted and killed, including targeting with a complete siege, which has triggered a famine in northern Gaza and caused children to literally starve to death. It's collective punishment. There's just no denying it.
Okay. Sahar, let me bring you back.
This is absolutely lies, Pierce, but you cannot... This is absolutely lies. It's a lie on a line. It's a narrative that was adopted by the terrorist organization Hamas. This is what they want. I'm telling you, I'm speaking to Palestinians in Gaza. I don't know if any of the people on this panel have a direct contact with Palestinians in Gaza. I have many friends there, and I speak to them. And I also shared many videos of Palestinians who are calling the fact that Hamas are the one who is responsible, the Hamas hiding among them and hiding under the ground like cowards. And it was Hamas who uses the hospitals and Hamas that uses mosques and also churches as terror base. There, the Palestinians saying that, and then you have some Americans come and say otherwise. And talking about the famine in Gaza. Tons of aid was entered to Israel through Egypt, from also the UAE, from also Jordan. Tons of aid. They are talking about showing how they are having food, but those pictures you will not see. You will not see them to have the narrative of Hamas.
Yusuf,
by the way,
if I may jump in.
Wait.
No, hang on. One of the reasons that we're not seeing what you're describing is because the IDF won't let journalists go in and see what's going on. So that is part of the problem. But there can be no doubt there's a massive humanitarian crisis there. All that people are starving to death.
There is enough TikTok videos.
Well, if the IDF has nothing to hide... Wait a second. Don't all talk over each other.
The Palestinians themselves.
Yusuf, the IDF has nothing to hide. Yusuf, if the IDF has nothing to hide, let the media have complete free run. Let them see it for themselves. But they won't. They won't.
And as far as I can say, they should be allowed. All I'm saying is, don't forget.
Yusuf, don't just keep
people that are creating
earlier. So look, you've had it categorized that it's just a few people in these crowds who are chanting the bad stuff, and yet you have said that Jewish students feel very threatened. I mean, how many people are you hearing using these chants, which are clear threats?
Right. So. It's a good question. It's just not a few people. I have seen hundreds of students that I have classes with after October 7th, we're talking October 9th, chanting, when people are occupied, resistance is justified, in direct reference to the atrocities of October 7th. And let's remember that we're talking about Hamas coming into people's houses and amputating mothers in front of their children and gouging out fathers' eyes. And that, in the eyes of hundreds of my peers, is justified. And just this weekend, we're talking about hundreds of my peers shouting, there's only one solution, Intifada revolution. Intifada is a call to genocide against Jewish people. This does not represent a minority. And the protest organizers that were human blockading me are at the forefront of their movement. So it's not random, unaffiliated people that are creating this unsafe environment. It's actually the students that identified me immediately are running these rallies and decided that they were going to taunt and blockade me and restrict my freedom of movement, and then cause the other 500 people in the rally to behave towards me with hostility and violence. They all passed by me. There's a video on my Twitter of students passing by me in a circle as they encircled me. And they all, one after the other, taunted me.
Okay.
It was not just like one of them taunted me. They all taunted me one after the other, waving things in my face.
Yeah,
and then this culminated in a physical assault.
Okay.
So let's stop that right there. So we have this Jewish Karen, so she goes to to Piers Morgan. She complains. You know, she went to a protest, and I guess goes down there with her, you know, with her flag on, and you know, with her Star of David flag, whatever, and people started, you know, going in on her, and you know, she starts complaining or whatever, and they say, well, who is the real villain here, right? I think they started out the segment, that part of the segment, like, who is the real villains? Who are the villains, right? And I think the guy Norman Finkelstein said it the best, right? They're complaining. She complains. She said, oh God, they're calling for genocide, whatever, you know, but this didn't start on October the 7th. It started in 1948, but it started even before that. But let's go back to 1948, when her grandparents went into those people's land, right? While my grandparents was under Jim Crow, her grandparents went into with Palestine and put other people, Arabs, under Jim Crow, right? And then now their grandchildren and their great-grandchildren are over there fighting her family members, her cousins, right? And she wants to complain. She wants to complain that nobody likes her, right? That these people are the villains because they did something horrible. And basically, like Norman Finkelstein said, it's a slave revolt that's going on, right? So they want to be treated fairly in the midst of a slave revolt, and if you don't, then they complain. They say, well, you're a terrorist. Was Nat Turner a terrorist? Right? And I think Norman Finkelstein made that point. He's right. Nat Turner and when they revolted on those plantations, they did horrible things. They burned everything in their path. Men, women, children, everything to get off of those plantations and fuck motherfuckers up. Whatever they came across, right? It got wrecked. Now, and you know, I got if people would have said, like her people, it was her people who led the slavery of Nat Turner. Jewish people like Judah P. Benjamin, who was a Jewish man, was second in charge of the Confederacy. That's her great-grandfather. You know, great-grandfather or whatever, right? These people, they the same people that went on to oppress the Palestinian Arab right now, right? So, you know, Finkelstein was right by saying, you know, how can you condemn people in the midst of a slave revolt? And then say, well, these people are the villains. When did they become the villains? Right? And who is the real villain? That woman is the real villain. The one sitting there complaining about she was mistreated. Right? Trying to act like she got a sad face. They always the victim. Right? No matter what they do, these people are always the victim. So you can go in, colonize somebody's land, kill them, ethnically cleanse them, steal oil and gas, etc. And if they revolt, you say, well, these people are terrorists. They committing terroricide. They terrorists and they want to genocide me. What did you think was going to happen? Would be my response. You must go quietly into that good night. I mean, this woman is the goddamn devil the Bible speaks of. Right? Revelations 2 and 9, this is the synagogue of Satan. This is the tip of the spear for the Nazi movement on earth. That's why they place the state of Israel there. All the Europeans, backed by Piers Morgan and Joe Biden and all these people. Because it is the tip of the Nazi spear, right? And then what is the Nazi? The Nazi is a racist, white supremacist, fascist organization. That's what this woman is a leader of, right? At her college or wherever she is. And they saying basically you can't say no to this thing that we want to do, right? And so what you saw on October 7th was a slave revolt, right? Just like with Nat Turner during the slavery in the United States. Norman Finkelstein made that comment. He was correct. That's a good comparison. And so, you know, atrocities happen during slave revolts. Violence is very violent, right? And they say, well, that's why they talk about Martin Luther King. You gotta have a peaceful revolt, or Gandhi or something, right? Gandhi made a statement. Gandhi was a racist and a murderer, but he made a statement that was very true. He said, "Don't use nonviolence as an excuse for being a coward." You see, let me say that again. Don't use nonviolence as an excuse for being a bunch of cowards. You see, like the black people in America, they just a bunch of cowards. They're not necessarily nonviolent. Because if you look at the way the gangs kill each other in Chicago and different places, they have their picks. You can tell that they're not nonviolent. They're just cowards. They just don't want to fight, the real enemy. Right? And so, but not to get off track. But she said, they asked who was the real villain, right? Well, we know who the real villain is. I mean, it's obvious who the real villain. The real villain is is this woman's people, who went into these people's land. See, they want to look at the symptom, right, but not understand the disease. They said, well, this happened on October 7th. That was just a symptom of the disease, which started which is the cancer that they are in 1948 that went in this land. The cancerous invasion and colonization of these Nazis, right? Of these Zion Nazis who went into the land, right? At the behest of the Nazis. They sent the Zion Nazis in to run this Zion Nazi operation. It's real simple. It's not complicated, right? And so, and then when the Arab slaves revolted on October 7th, right, as a result of 77 years of oppression, then this woman wants to complain, right? She said, oh, these people are terrorists. These people this and that. These people condone violence. What are you talking about, miss? Y'all been doing violence on people for the past 500 years. Now you want to complain about violence? Give me a break. It's too late for that. You do know that, right? It's too late to complain about violence. It's too late to complain about hate or whatever it is, like YouTube. Oh my God, hate speech. YouTube strike your channel and say, for suspected hate speech. I don't know, something you posted may have been hate speech. What the fuck does that mean? It's like pre-crime or something? So you something that may happen, right? Minority Report. And she wanna come on here with that sad face. Nobody cares, right? In the midst of why these people been slaughtering people since 1948, right? Her grandparents and her parents. And then when the slave revolt occurred, they done kidnapped tens of thousands of people. They got mass graves, all kinds of shit. Stealing land, shooting people, raping, robbing, pillaging for like 75 years. And then when you get a revolt on October 7th, you're supposed to feel sorry for them. I don't feel sorry for them because my great-grandparents were slaves. My great-grandparents was people who was subject to what happened in Nat Turner during the revolt. You see what I'm saying? And I don't give a fuck what happened to the plantation owners when Nat Turner and all of them got, killed, they fought and died and got killed in those and did all that shit in them heinous things and burnt everything in their path in them slave revolts. I got no problem with that. Because this was the same people that was feeding them to alligators and dogs, right? That was beating their backs in with whips, lynching them, lighting them on fire, torturing them, raping them, selling their children, making them have sex with each other, right? Putting bags over their head and make you have sex with your mother, like a dog or something. You understand? For hundreds of years, they was doing this to black people in the United States. So when Nat Turner and them started fucking them up, well, whatever happened at that point. I don't want to hear shit about no terrorism or, whatever it is they complaining about. Said Nat Turner's a villain. Hamas is a villain, right? Whoever don't let you terrorize, you gotta let us terrorize you, rape and pillage you and terrorize you, or you a villain. You a bad guy. You a terrorist. You a racist. What? What kind of Nazi doublespeak is this? These are horrible people. And they want to commit horrible acts and then they want to be commended for it. What's more horrible than that? What's more horrible than a person that wants to commit heinous, horrible, terrible crimes against humanity without being held accountable, right? Without being held accountable. What's more horrible than that? That's these people. Her and her people. Whether it be Israel or American, right? America or whatever. That's these people, right? You can't get no more worse Nazi than that. People that want to commit atrocities and they say, listen, you can't hold me accountable, right? There can't be no blowback. There can't be no backlash. I get to do whatever I want. What is wrong with you? That's what she is saying. That's what she basically on this shit. That's what her and people like Piers Morgan and even the white woman Crystal Ball. He said, who's the villain? Is Hamas villains? Yes, Hamas are villains, but so is Israel. Bitch, please. Bitch, please. You want to, I don't, that's why I don't like white liberals. I don't rock with no white liberals or none of that. Fuck them. I'm not condemning no slaves during a slave revolt. Whatever happens, happens. You get it because you asked for it. I don't want to hear no shit about, oh my God, this terrible thing happened. Whatever. You wasn't crying about that when your parents was doing all this heinous shit to these people. You ain't had nothing to say about it. Now you want to cry about October 7th or this happened or somebody's a terrorist. Give me a break. Nobody wants to hear that. I know I don't want to hear that shit. I don't have no sympathy for you. None whatsoever. I don't have no sympathy for no slavers, for no Nazis, right? And all that kind of shit, right? No genocidal, ethnic cleansing maniacs, right? Resource thieves and shit. Or their grandchildren or whatever. I don't have no sympathy for them. If something happened to you, you got what was coming to you. It's called karma. You see? But these are people that believe nothing ever is supposed to happen to them. Right? They believe. See, that's why the Negro in America is so bad. Because they watch white people like these Israelis and these Americans do shit to people. And there's never any accountability. So they, for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, so they say, well, shit, I'm going to be like them. But it don't work out for them. Right? They just destroy themselves. There's no, they feel like, well, if they got away with it, then I guess, we're just going to do wickedly and then we're going to be okay. No, you're not. And neither are they. You're not going to do wickedly and be okay. That time is over with. You see? The time of like them, you know, doing wickedly and getting away. Like they think, well, we don't have to pay black people reparations, right? We can do whatever we want to these Arabs over here in the Gaza Strip and in Israel and Palestine. We can do whatever we want to people, you know, wherever, South America. That time over with. Right? So, and it's slowly grinding to a halt. So I don't want to hear about no shit about you crying about somebody did something bad on October 7th and they villains and they bad people. They know worse than Nat Turner was during the slavery revolt. But what's going to really, you know, when the rubber really meets the road is when you really have to pay for what you've done. Right? That Hamas shit was nothing. You see? I mean, you look at this shit with Iran and all this shit. This shit is nothing. This shit is a prelim to what really to judgment. Right? This is basically a prelude to judgment. Right? You want to know what they're real? She complaining now. Y'all complaining now. Let's take a look. Before I go, let's take a look at what's gonna happen to them. Stand by. So let's take a look at their judgment that's coming upon them now. Revelation 19:16. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name was called the Word of God. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen and white and clean. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. And he shall tread the winepress of the fierceness and the wrath of the Almighty God. And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great God, that ye may eat the flesh of the kings, and the flesh of the captains, and the flesh of the mighty men, and the flesh of the horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. And I saw the beast and the kings of earth, and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. That's their judgment. You understand? That's their judgment. You see? The Lord said when he bringing his armies from space, and when the armies get here, he gonna kill them all and let the birds and the vultures feast upon the flesh of all of them. You see? That's their judgment. You see? To be scattered all upon the earth, right? Corpses from nation to nation, as he destroys and puts them into a lake of fire and destroys them with scalar weapons, blue-green lasers striking the earth and burning cities, right, to ash. You see? It says it right here. This is the book of Revelations. That woman you see sitting on your screen, she is an agent of the Antichrist. The Jewish people are the Antichrist. What does that mean? They are against Christ. They are against the Messiah. See, if you're in slavery, you need a Messiah to save you from the slavery, right? The babies of the slavery are the black people, right? So they need to be saved. Those people they Antichrist, meaning what? Antichrist, the Messiah. They anti the Messiah. Why? They don't want you to have a Messiah so that they can enslave you. The Messiah is coming to save you from the slavery, you see, and the oppression that her and her people brought down upon you. So of course they are Antichrist. Jesus Christ means anointed Messiah. So of course they're against the anointed Messiah because they are fascist, Nazi slavers. You see? Do you understand? It's not that complicated. It's very simple. And so the Messiah has already written the end in the beginning when he gave up the revelations, when they saw into the future and they said what was going to happen, what is happening is taking place now. Right? He said, I shall call upon all of the vultures and birds and let them feed upon the flesh of the armies, because I'm going to wipe them all out. You see? That's Revelations. Revelations mean to reveal a prophecy to you of the end. So this is nothing. They said Hamas is a terrorist. Hamas is nothing compared to the Lord of hosts and his army. Hamas is child's play. You do know that, right? You see? Hamas is child's play. What are we talking about? Iran is child's play. Russia is children's play. Chinese army are children's play. The Americans are child's play. There's a bigger fish in the sea. That's what they was trying to tell you. Right? In the end, it would be a bigger fish in the sea. Bigger than all of them combined. And he said, when I'm finished, the bird, I will call upon the fowl of the earth, and their bodies will be everywhere. Their kings, their presidents, their captains, their armies. And the only thing will be happening is I will wipe them out along with their people, and there will be birds and foul animals feeding upon their flesh as they laid around everywhere. That's their judgment. That's it for them. It's a wrap. That's nothing. So that's nothing compared to Hamas. You see, that's why the Bible said two-thirds shall die and be cut off. Because when he finishes, most of the people are going to be wiped out. Because they wicked. Even my own children. You see, I had to pronounce judgment on them. They shall be wiped out. My own family, they shall be wiped out. You see. So it's equal opportunity. I'm not just saying this for the heathen, right? For the synagogue of Satan and the heathen that followed them. Christ, the Messiah, the Lord of hosts, is a like he said, the white they said is righteousness. When they said, as it reads, when he says, and he was clothed in a vesture dipped in blood. Why? Why is his vesture going to be dipped in blood? Why is there going to be blood all over him? Because he's going to be killing everybody. He's a Lord of hosts, means general of an army. But this man is hands-on. He's going to be killing you personally, right? And he said his name is called the Word of God. You see? And it said that heaven, and in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. You see? And out of his mouth go a sharp sword of judgment. And he shall smite all nations. You see? All nations shall be smited by him. The Russians, the Americans, the Israelis, the African, the Chinese. Nobody can stand in front of him. This is not Iran shooting some shit in the air over Israel. This is child's play. This is a nothing burger. This is something that you can ignore until the real fireworks start. You see? And because he is true, right? The reason why they described him as white, because his word is true. Whatever he says, that's what he's going to do. And you can't stop it. He's not gonna swerve or move from the path. If he said, I'm gonna wipe out all these nations and their kings, I'm gonna feed their kings their carcasses, to vultures, well, that's what's gonna happen. The whole earth gonna be strewn with bodies from coast to coast when he's finished. Right? He saw the beasts and the kings of the earth and all of their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. That's the revelation. All of them are going to be in fear. And so they're going to try to come together so that they can stay in power. The Israeli and the American and the Russian and the Chinese and what's left of them after fighting each other, they're going to say, well, shit, we want to keep ruling the earth. We got to come together. It's an alien invasion. It ain't no goddamn alien invasion. It's their end. You see? And they said, we got to stop these alien invasion. I'm telling you, this is written right here. In this one verse of Revelation 19 and 16. It all tells the whole thing right there. But it's the same thing in the book of Joel. I can go there. I can go to the book of Ezra. It says the same thing as Revelation 19. The Revelation of Ezra says the same thing, which was written hundreds of years before Revelation. Same thing with Joel. Says the same thing as Revelations and Ezra. They do not vary at all if you read them about the judgment. But they was written hundreds of years apart. You see? Stand by. Let's put some more in that before I go. Just so you see it's not a coincidence. Let's read this. Let's read some more on this. Peter, right, gave a prophecy. 2 Peter 3 and 10. He said, but the heavens and the earth, which are now by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and the perdition of the ungodly men. Who is the ungodly men? Well, that would be you, your father, your mother, Joe Biden, right? This girl on here claiming she was harassed at this college, Benjamin Netanyahu, right? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, Donald Trump. These are the ungodly men, right? It said, but be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day with the Lord is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is one day. The Lord is not slack concerning his promises, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, right? Boom, those ships shall crack the sky. The ships shall come down with the armies, right? And the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat, right? As he hits the earth with these scalar weapons, there shall be a fervent heat, and the earth and the works therein shall be burned up by the Lord of hosts and his armies. He's going to burn the earth. You see? Israel going to be burnt up. America going to be burnt up. Europe going to be burned up, etc., etc. You see? They're going to all get burned up. How do I know it's written right here in Revelations and in Peter? You see? It all says the same thing. It doesn't, people say the Bible is full of contradictions. No, it's not. You're just a dumbass and a hypocrite and a liar. I keep reading the same thing, so how would that be possible? Right? It said again, you shall all be burnt up, right? Seeing then that these things shall be dissolved, right? What manner of persons ought ye to be in a holy conversation and godliness? He said, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Nevertheless, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwell righteousness. You see? So he's going to destroy the heaven and the earth, and there shall be a new heaven and a new earth. Where is that written? Where is that also written? Well, that would be written in the book of Revelations. You see? The Bible don't contradict itself. Let me show you that, right? Where he said, I, John of Patmos. You see? John of Patmos gave a prophecy where in a dream he was asleep and he woke and he saw the same thing. He said he saw a new heaven and a new earth, right? Let's take a look at it. Right? Here it is right here. See? The Bible don't contradict itself, right? Here's another prophecy, Revelation 21. What did it say? And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. Well, that's the same thing it just said in the other chapter, right? For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. Well, that's in the book of Ezra. I know because I read the book of Ezra, right? The prophecy of Ezra, mainly, right? And in the book of Ezra, he says, he said he was taken in a dream by the angel Michael, and he showed him the future in the end times, right? At the end times of the 12 tribes, right? The people of the 12 tribes. And he said, Michael showed him the Lord destroying the sea. And he said, Lord, why are you destroying this ocean? Why are you bombing the oceans with lasers and scalar weapons? And he said, Ezra, my son, my brother, because there is evil in the oceans. There are underground bases in the oceans, you see, with evil, wicked aliens and creatures and men there, right? So I shall destroy the oceans, Ezra. You see? So he said, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were destroyed and passed away. And there was no more sea. Parts of the sea was blown out by the weapons and destructions, right? And earth changes. And he said, I, John, saw a holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven. He saw a huge spaceship, and it was shiny, right? And he said, and I heard a great voice from heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of God has come down and is with men, and he will dwell with them. You see, the Lord of hosts had come down, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them, and he shall be their God, and God shall wipe away the tears, right, of the slaves, right, and the descendants of the slaves, and the captives in the jails from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, right, from your enemies, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things shall be passed away. And he that sat upon the throne said, behold, I will make all things new. And he said unto me, right, write, for these words are true and faithful. So he showed them this in a dream, and he said, listen, when you wake up, you write this shit down, because this is true and faithful, what you're seeing. And John, being a faithful man, he woke up and wrote his dreams down just like this, and now you're reading them in these last days and times, right? So they're gonna be wiped out. They're gonna be destroyed. It's nothing. They said Hamas is terrible. Nobody is more terrible than the Lord of hosts. You see, but also nobody is more just. You see? Nobody is more terrible than him. Not Hamas, nobody. Not the white man, not the Asian man, not the China man, not the Russian, not the Ukrainian Nazi, not the Israeli Nazi, Zion Nazi. Nobody is more terrible than the Lord of hosts. Because when he finished, they're going to all most be gone. You see? They're going to all be destroyed and burned up. And anything left going into slavery. See, that's the prophecy. So nobody's more terrible than the Lord of hosts. Right? Alright, this is the last one I'm going to read for y'all. Revelations 20. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God. And the books were open. And another book was open, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books, according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, right? And death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them, and they were judged, every man according to their works. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death, and whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. Amen. You see? You're going in that lake of fire. You see? He's like, even the dead, I'm going to wake the dead up, and I'm going to judge them and put their ass in the lake of fire. Wake up, nigger. You see? He said, I'm going to wake up the dead. How fucking, I mean, how goddamn, I don't even have words for this. How vicious, right? How bad a motherfucker do you have to be that you wake up the dead and then put their ass to death? Judge them and put their ass to death again. I mean, god damn, dog. Right? That's why I say Hamas ain't got nothing on them. right? Got nothing on the Lord of Hosts. That's a bad motherfucker, right? Pardon my French. Bad mother sucker, right? He said, I'm gonna wake up the dead and judge them, and then I'm gonna put their ass to death. Now you gotta be one bad son of a gun to wake the dead up, judge them, and then put their ass to death again and throw them in the lake of fire. God damn, dog. On that one, I gotta go. I'm out on that one. I don't even really have nothing else to say. Right? I mean, what else can you say about somebody like that? Right? They say, listen, man, I don't give a damn if you dead. I'm gonna wake your ass up and kill you and judge you and kill you again. Damn. God damn, dog. Right? Hamas ain't got nothing on them. Nat Turner, right? You dealing with a higher power. That's why I said, like, you're talking about reparations. Man, I don't care about no reparations. I don't care about Iran. I don't care about none of that. I'm waiting for the higher power to come. I ain't waiting on Russia, the Chinese, what's gonna happen, blah, blah, blah. I ain't worried about. I'm waiting for somebody army that'll come and wake up the dead and kill them again. This how bad these people are. You see? Your worst nightmare. You see? You said, fuck that, I'm gonna kill myself and get away, right? Remember in the movie The Avengers? Where did you see this at? In the movie The Avengers, where Wanda, at the end, she tried to kill Vision and blew up the stone that was in his head. But Thanos came, he had a time stone, and after he was dead, he rolled back the time and brought him back to life. He brought Vision back to life and then snatched the stone out of his head and killed him again. Same thing. He brought him back to life and killed him again. Took what he wanted from him, judged him, and killed him again. You see? It's the same thing. This is what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a higher power. Like Thanos, right? You're dealing with a higher power. Like Banner told him, Thanos is coming. Right? Destroys whole worlds. Right? That's the Lord of Hosts. Right? Takes people, wakes them up. Like Vision, who was dead. He brought him back to life, took what he wanted, and then killed him again. You see? You're dealing with a higher power. See, people think that the only power you see is what you see on the earth. Y'all getting ready to get a rude awakening. It's gonna be something out of a comic book. Like, so I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna go. So Tucker Carlson was on Joe Rogan, right? And he made a comment. He said, UFOs are supernatural. I call bullshit on that. Tucker Carlson, nah. He said UFOs are supernatural. UFOs are not supernatural. See, what people call magic and supernatural is just an explanation for science that they don't understand. It's a type of science that they don't understand. So their explanation for it is to say, oh, that's a demon. Oh, that's, whatever, right? That's supernatural. That's a demon. That's this, that's that. That's magic. It's not magic. It's not a demon. It's not supernatural. You just don't understand what it is. It's a type of science that's not on your level. It's something that is not on your level. You're dealing with a higher power. Quantum physics, call it what you want. But to you, it's supernatural. You see? See, what's going to happen, people, that's why I like dealing with, certain things like remote viewing and different things. And I study, psychic dreams and all of that. Because it helps me, it initiates me into these things, into quantum physics. You see? So I understand because I do remote viewing when I get in the mood, right? I've had precognitive dreams, and so I understand the things that people call supernatural. I've studied them so long now. I understand that these things that people consider to be supernatural are just a form of science that they don't understand. Right? They only used to the power of the white man and a nuclear bomb or something, right? The bullet, somebody, stabbing, whatever, power in that sense, physical power. They don't understand power in a subtle sense, on a level that they could never understand. Sometimes they can't even see it or test it, right? But you're gonna understand, right? Like what he said, I'm gonna judge the dead, I'm gonna wake them up, judge him, and I'm gonna kill him again, right? He said, well, that's supernatural. No, it's not. It's just natural. You're just stupid. You're just stupid, that's all. It's not supernatural, Tucker Carlson. Right? You're just not initiated. You just don't understand yet, but you will. See, Tucker Carlson gonna be judged by these things that he considered to be supernatural. And he gonna realize it's just a level that he wasn't down with, so to speak. He didn't understand. You see? Those ships are gonna crack the sky and they're gonna change the whole people, whoever's left, right? But they're gonna change people's whole view of things, and you're gonna understand that this is just a level of things that you just don't understand. You just been dealing on some 3D level, but now you're gonna understand on all levels. You're gonna be made to understand. You see? Like you said, there's gonna be a new heaven and a new earth, a new science, everything. You're gonna say, oh wow, look at this, right? No more oil and gas. You see? Tesla tech, no more oil and gas, right? You'll see things, technology that will allow huge cars to float in the air using vibrational frequencies. All kinds of things. Things that people like Tucker Carlson say is magic or supernatural. And you be like, oh, that's just normal. That's what's getting ready to happen. You're going to see a new heaven and a new earth. And in this new earth, you'll see those technologies that people like Tucker Carlson consider to be supernatural. Except Tucker Carlson won't be around to see any of that. He'll see it on the way out. You see? That'll be the last thing people like him see soon, right? The Benjamin Netanyahus, the Tucker Carlsons, the Donald Trumps, Joe Bidens, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, these groups, these heathens, right? Because the Lord of hosts, as he says, is not going to suffer them very long. They all going into the fire, right? As the new earth is created and the new heavens is created, it's a formative process, right? It's going to be a destructive, creative process. So through these people being burnt up, something new shall come into view, right? So for every end, there's a new beginning. And this is not the end, this is the beginning, you see? But this place got to be judged. Right? That's all I got.